Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is Raven, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about the most horrible ways to die. Now, this is very graphic, and this is very painful to talk about, and it's very painful to read, listen, whatever the situation is. So, if this is something that you do not feel comfortable, you may want to miss this video. Now, I will be using a link in the description down below as to the site that I got this information from. Now, it is historyofyesterday.com is the site, and it does actually have its own horrible ways to die. Now, there are other sites that have different lists, so I will be probably looking at that as well. So, the first part of this list is hanged, drawn, and quartered. Have you ever have a wishbone breaking contest with someone? And, the secret to getting the bigger end is you don't move. More stress builds on that side as the side that is being pulled on. Drawn and quartering is very similar, but instead of two ornery siblings getting on a turkey bone, your body is ripped apart by 4 whipped horses and galloping in 4 different directions. Oh my god, that has got to be one of the most painful things. The image is very graphic. I will be putting a picture of it. Just keep in mind, it is very disturbing. There's luckily no blood or anything, but it shows very much the context. Drawn and quartering were reserved for the crime of treason. It would involve many steps based on the ruler's creativity and boredom. So the criminal was drawn to a horse, dragged to the gallows. In the next stage, the person was hanged, but not until death, because that would spoil the fun. Then skies were the limit. The criminal could be castrated, disemboweled, beheaded, or quartered by 4 horses. Sometimes the criminal was chopped up into quarters first, with their remains dragged around town. It is a very gruesome death. It is very painful, and you kind of get the point from there. Next one is the pillory and stocks. The pillory has become a playful prop in many Renaissance fairs, but this torture device would not have inspired a selfie. Basically, the criminal placed their head and hands through the hole. Sometimes the offender's ears were cut off and nailed to it as a public service announcement to all the village. Hoodlums. Crimes that could get you pillared include libel, cheating, stealing, forging, vandalism, and even selling bad meat. Like poisoning it or letting it go bad and trying to sell it. Anything like that. It seems like a fair punishment for that reason. Now, there are also stocks devices that had holes just for your ankles. You were free to use your hands. I don't know why they would do that way, but it is what it is. Now, this next one is a bit gruesome as well. Breaking on the rack. Have you ever had 9 shoulder dislocations? It is truly torturous, okay? The victim would lie across a wooden frame with hands and feet tied to a winding mechanism on opposite ends. The torture would wind the wheel to stretch the person like a human Gumby. Shoulders would dislocate, and sometimes your limbs would just be torn right off. Again, these are all for crimes that you need to be punished for, basically. Next is the pendulum. Less common, but it is very top on the creativity scale, apparently. Victim is strapped underneath a huge metal pendulum with a sharp blade affixed to it. The pendulum swung back and forth until it reached your helpless body and sliced you up like a shish kebab. Oh my god. Talk about dramatic. That sounds like the most horrible thing on this planet, okay? Historians are not sure this one existed, but let's not have them wrecking all of our fun. So apparently this may or may not even have been real. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's real? I don't know. The Scold's Bride. Now this is for something that men would do to women. So medieval men simply didn't tolerate nagging women. Most people don't like when their spouses nag. However, this took it a bit extreme for their punishment. This punishment was used to silence women who couldn't hold their tongues. The bridle was an iron cage that enclosed the head. Sometimes a metal spike was placed inside the mouth to pierce the tongue if they tried to talk. Then the offending shrew was led around town like a horse. Women accused of witchcraft were often targeted. Sometimes husbands who didn't like when their women scolded them would do the same thing. That sounds horrible. Next up is the Iron Maiden. Everyone knows what the Iron Maiden is. For those of you that do not know it, I'm going to show you a picture of it. It is basically an iron sarcophagus where you're put into alive. It has impaling spikes. It has the 21 spikes that were just long enough to penetrate your organs and slowly kill you. The historians thought that the maiden was the stuff of scary fiction until one was found in a castle in Nuremberg, Germany in the 1800s. This torture device has most likely never been used in the medieval period. It was probably before that. Now, this next one, again, they're all graphic, but this next one is just, I've never heard of it until I saw this site. The Pear of Anguish is the next one. This is the best for last is what they explain this one. This is an egg beater looking device, which is placed inside of an orifice of your choice. So it says here to use your imagination. I think we all know what that means by an orifice. Any opening of the body. It is then cranked open so that the four leaves slowly expand, ripped open your internal organs. This torture device was reserved for those accused of witchcraft and homosexuality. Now, if you are against people of that realm, we're probably never going to get along very well. I am for the LGBTQ community. I have never once said anything bad about any of them, because as long as whatever they're doing does not personally attack or hurt me, I'm all for it. And everyone should have the right to love who they want to love, within reason. Obviously, if it's an adult trying to have romantic relationships with a child, that's a no-go. But if you are someone that loves someone of the same gender, you should be allowed to do that. That's just my opinion. I did grow up religious. I am not currently religious because, I just haven't felt comfortable going to church or anything like that. Plus, I moved away from the church I was going to. And, this is just my thought. You guys don't have to agree with me on that. But back in those times, gays, lesbians, etc. were very frowned upon. If it was proven that you were within that realm, you were tortured. And unless you never came out. If you came out, you were tortured. If you didn't come out, then you'd have to live a lie. So, either way, it's a non-happy situation. Now, I just want to say, I am not for any sort of crime against anyone, like I've said in other videos. But I understand that this was, again, long time ago, okay, where we didn't view everyone as equal. Nowadays, at least we should be nowadays, viewing every single person as our equal. No matter what the difference is, we are all humans. We all have the same interior, okay? We all have the same bone structure. We all have the same blood, color, blood levels, all of these things. We are the same internally, okay? And by that, I mean like the blood, the bones, muscle. We all have muscles. We all have tendons. We all have all of these things, okay? That is nothing different. So this is going to be a very interesting video. I'd love to see your thoughts on this video about the horrible ways to die. This is basically like a punishment torture video, and I did not expect that to happen. I do apologize. So if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and comment. Let me know if you've heard of all these or some of them are new to you as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.